I love playing soulful, bluesy piano ballads, especially those slow ones in 6/8. Songs like Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles, Natural Woman by Carole King, or If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys, they all have that same soulful groove, full of expression and feel. In this video, I'm going to break down this bluesy groove, and I'm going to show you how to capture that whole vibe on piano, using a few simple techniques that will take your playing to that next level. Let's do it. So the most important thing about this groove is the feel. It's what gives it its soulful character, right? The way the music flows. Often when I'm playing any kind of groove, I've got a drum track going on in my head. Even if I'm not playing with a drummer or a backing track or a metronome, I've got the sound of what the drums would be doing, because I find that it's so much easier to generate a groove and the sense of groove when you've got what the drums are doing in your head. So in this groove, the drums are going boom, 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 ga, boom, ga, and the boom is the kick drum and the ga is the snare drum. It's so useful to do this, right? I'd actually have a go at vocalizing this drum groove. You might want to do it behind closed doors so people don't think you've gone a bit crazy. Check it out. A boom, dum, dum, ga, a boom, dum, dum, ga. So I've got that going through my head all the time, right? What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a bunch of different accompaniment patterns that you can use when you're playing songs in this style. We're going to use the same chord sequence throughout the video, right? So let me just break down what's going on here. Super simple. We're in the key of G. There's our G major scale, and we've got an F sharp in our G major scale. As always, get the scale down of the key, super, super important. And the sequence goes G, E minor 7, C, then C minor. Now the second time through, it's an 8-bar sequence. We're just going to change up the end. So we go back to the G, then to the E minor, and then in the last 2 bars, we're going to go A7, C over D, and G. Do you see that, right? I'll play through all of that now so you can get an idea of this sequence. By the way, I've put it all together for you as usual in a PDF lesson book. It's completely free. The link is down in the video description. I've written out every step we're going to cover today. You can also get hold of the backing track we're using as well. So do go ahead and do that. Hope you find it really useful. Let me play through this sequence with that track. Different ending this time, the A7 to C over D. There it is. Now, we're playing the chords at the beginning of each bar, right? And we're playing them, look, I'll be honest, you don't want to play them like this. Or, no. This music is all about intention, groove, commitment. You've got to have a bit of grit. Really thump it out. I mean, I've actually got a smaller keyboard here, but if I had the lower end, I'd be hammering out those octaves down below. So really make sure you're playing it with a bit of oomph. It needs it. And just one other quick thing on those chords. I'm gonna double the note that's at the top of our voicing down an octave, and it's gonna come in useful a little bit later on, right? So I'll explain why we're doing it a little bit later on. But just check this out. When I play that G chord, I'm going to double the note that's up here on my little finger. I'm going to double it down below. So if I do that on every single chord in the sequence, I mean, I'll give you a clue. Most of the time, you're going to be playing a G, right? Check it out. There's the first chord, then the E minor. E minor 7, got this G down here. Down to the C. The C minor, 4 minor, there we go. Back again. Now the A7. I hadn't actually realised that, but you stay the same all the way through the sequence. Your right hand is playing those octaves, those G octaves there, do you see? And it's just those middle notes in the middle of your triad that are changing. Let's have a go at changing up this groove. This repeated triad, it's in so many songs. It's the sound of this music. By the way, if this does conjure up any songs for you and you think, oh, it sounds like that song, drop it down in the comments below and let's try and build up a playlist of all these songs, all these little techniques and where we can find them out in the wild. What is going on here? Well, I'm using the same shape that I was using down here. Remember, I'm doubling that note, okay, the note at the top. And all I've done is I've placed it up here, right at the top of the piano, where it just cuts through. Do you hear it up there? If you were playing with a band, that would cut over the top of the band. It's like a really powerful sound. And all I'm doing is I'm playing on every single beat in 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm kind of playing every single one with weight, but I'm putting special weight on beat 1 and beat 4. That's because that's where the kick drum and the snare drum is. Listen. Boom, dum, dum, ga, dum, dum, boom, dum, ga, dum, dum. I've got that going through all the time in my head. And in my left hand, I'm just going to be playing the root notes, but I'm going to use octaves. Check this. I'm going to go through the sequence like that. So I'm just playing those root notes using the octaves, mainly in my little finger and my thumb. Okay, I'll give it a go with the track. The ending changes here. Yeah. It's actually hard to play that because you've got to be so locked in. You can't sort of waver about the beat. It's got to be quite precise. It's really got to lock in with the hi-hat because the hi-hat's playing on every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the other thing I was doing there, I noticed this as I was playing it. Sometimes these things you sort of know subliminally from listening to this kind of style quite a lot. But I think I'm putting extra weight on beat 6. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually not extra weight, it's extra length. Check this out. Short, 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 long, short, short, short. Do you see that? I hadn't quite actually realised I was doing that, but I just think that's part of this style. Let's add some extra notes in our left hand. And this is something that piano players often do, just to kind of bridge that gap between root notes, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to move up chromatically to the next root note. So let's take the first bar, for example. We're on a G chord, so we're going to be using Gs in our little finger and our thumb. But then, to get to that E minor, which is the next chord 6 in the key of G, we're going to go chromatically up. We're going to go chromatically up from below the note. So the rhythm is this. Do you see that? I went D, D sharp, E. It's like I'm going chromatically up to that E. And we can do the same thing on the C. Did you see that? I went up there, B flat, B, C, chromatically up to the C. We're going to do that on every single chord change, basically. Every single root note that changes. By the way, it's all written out in that PDF lesson book. If you're thinking, how am I going to remember that and work out what notes to play? It's all there for you to follow. Let's give it a go with the track, using that extra little chromatic shift. And we're going to keep those triads in our right hand. If you're thinking how to practice this, hands separately first. Okay, I'm just doing it hands together, so it's kind of, you can see the whole picture. But if you're practicing this, get that right hand really secure, really locked in. Get the left hand on its own really secure, so it just automatically goes to those bass notes, then put it together. Okay, let's give it a go with the track. Gives you an idea, right? I didn't do that little chromatic shift on every single chord, but it's just something you can add in to add a little bit more movement and just propel you into that next harmonic change, right? Okay, let's have a look at another way of playing this. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm playing in a different register on the piano now. Here's middle C, and I'm playing in this area just below middle C, which for me is a really beautiful, resonant, it's kind of warm. It's a warm area of the piano where it sounds full. I'm using my right hand to generate some rhythm. Now, if you look specifically what I'm doing, I'm using my right hand thumb. You know what's coming, right? If you've seen videos on the channel before, the toggle's back. What we're doing is we're toggling between the upper part of our hand and the thumb. So check it out. See that? My left hand's just playing the root notes, and my right hand is doing that rhythm. If you analyse what's actually going on, the rhythm I'm playing, the top part of my hand is playing on the kick, boom, ga, and it's also playing on the snare. Did you see that? Boom, ga, and this is just coming in just before that snare drum hit. Do you see it? Check it out. And that's the rhythm I'm using throughout the whole sequence. My left hand's just hammering out that bass line. It's got such a nice warm sound, this. Let's give it a go with the track so you can see it in context. That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm adding in a couple of other little things, or you could add in a couple of other little things. Check it out on this 4 chord. When we get to the C, I'm occasionally just splitting it. Did you see that? A lot of people always put in the comments, what's the little thing you do on a chord where it just sort of blurs it? Well, I call it a smudge, and all I'm doing here is I'm moving the second up to the third. It's kind of blink and you miss it. It's not like, it's not slow, it's really fast. Really, really quick. Now I can do it on the 4 chord, and I can do it on the 4 minor as well, if you want to, yeah? It's a little trick you can do. I mean, if you wanted to spice up your left hand as well, you could add in those little run-ups. See that? Yeah, I mean, it's about piecing all these things together. It's not like you can only do one or the other. It's about getting them all down separately and then thinking, how am I going to combine them? Which ones am I going to use? And don't use them all the time. Use them occasionally to add a bit of spice and variety to what you're playing. Okay, I want to show you a little trick at the end of the sequence. It's a way of rounding it off. When we get to the end of the 8 bars, you need something that kind of puts a full stop at the end of your musical sentence. I think that makes sense. Does it? It's a way of finishing off that sentence before you go back round for another 8 bars. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little melody. So check this. I'm using exactly the same chord shapes that we've used before. The A7, there it is. But all I'm doing is I'm changing the order of the notes. So I'm moving this D sharp. I'm doing a little smudge here, a semitone or a half step smudge from the D sharp up to the E. And if I put in my second finger and my thumb in my right hand, get that. Listen to that. Very bluesy, that kind of sound, that smudge. And then I'm going up to the G afterwards. See that? And I'm doing the same thing on the C over D. So see those 2 moves? And we go back. It's a way of rounding it off. Now, if there are any hardcore fans of the channel out there, you will remember a little while ago, I did a video all about the Paul McCartney walk down, okay? It's a little trick he uses at the end of the song, Let It Be. So, you know the chorus, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. That little thing at the end, the McCartney walk down. And it's a little harmonic trick that we can take and put at the end of sequences, okay? It brings a sequence to a close even more, okay? It's a way of rounding it off. Let's see if we can add it into our sequence, right? So we're going to do the A7, going to the C over D, and then we go to the G chord for 3 counts, and then we have the walk down, which looks like this. And those chords, if you're wondering what they are, it's C, G over B, A minor 7, and G. Okay, I'll put the whole thing together, check it. 3. It's really cool. It's just a way of rounding it off. Let me play that through, okay? I'm now going to have a go. I'm going to be doing that toggle pattern in my right hand, all the way through the sequence. I might add a few little chromatic shifts, all of those kind of things. And at the end, we'll do our little bluesy trick into a McCartney walk down. I hope you're following all this. I'm coming up with all these names for things. But the thing is, if I don't give them names, they become really hard to remember. What I want you to be able to do is be playing your own songs, or maybe a cover of another song, or a piece, whatever it is you're playing, right? And I want you to think, how can I make that better? I know, I'm going to add a little bluesy trick. Or I'm going to add a McCartney walk down from chord 4. This is the whole purpose of why I'm giving you these names, because it just makes it so much easier to remember. The toggle pattern. You can think, right, I'm playing this kind of style, I'm going to do a toggle. Do you kind of get why I'm doing it? I hope it is making sense. Right, let's give it a go with the track. I'm smudging those middle notes there. Little thing, here we go. Do you see how we've basically taken it away from sounding like a series of chords to making it sound like a really flowing, free musical accompaniment? Right, what I'm going to have a go at doing now is putting together everything we've looked at, right? I'm going to play the sequence through twice, and the first time I'm going to be doing our little triad pattern. Remember that from earlier? Remember, we're putting weight on those triads. They really need to have a bit of grit. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to do the toggle pattern and all the things we just played there. I might throw in a few other little bits as well. Let's see what happens. Let's play it with the track. Bring it down. Toggle. Here we go. McCartney. Don't forget you can download everything I've covered in today's video. You got the PDF lesson book and all the backing tracks. You can really get all of this into your playing. And if you liked this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell. It really helps this channel to grow. And it also means that you get notified every single time we release a new video. We've got new videos every single week. They all have resources, all designed to help you get more free, confident and creative at the piano. Talking of which, if you really enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this one up here. Go give it a click and I'll see you over there.